All right, here is part 2 of the video. At this point, you should have already done this portion. If you have not done this portion of your work, go to part 1 of the video and complete that first. We're still going to continue off with those same 3 learning targets, but now we're looking at a table and doing that work with a table instead of the graph. All right, so Brent wants to buy a 60-inch TV. So he opens a savings account and he starts putting money in there every month. So here's his table of values. Here's his chart of him putting in money so that he can save up for that TV. Determine the rate of change in initial value for this relationship and explain what it means in terms of Brent's savings account. All right, so what we need to do first is it said determine rate of change in initial value, and what we know there is that rate of change, I'm going to highlight in blue, initial value, I'm going to highlight in green. And in this case, it's easier for me to do rate of change first and initial value second, because initial value is when the table is at 0, when we're finding for 0 months. I'm going to put that up there. I'm also going to highlight it because I know I'm going to have to come back to that, but I need to know my rate of change before I can calculate the amount that he originally started with. All right, so rate of change, we know that when we do rate of change that we do change in y over change in x. And I don't see an x or a y here, so I'm going to put an x and I'm going to put a y for my table. My change in my y, how much is this changing by? And so calculating that, we've got 415, subtracting 160, and we get 255. So this is increasing by 255. Change in my y is 255 for every, to get from 1 to 4, is 3 months, for every 3 months. $255 for every 3 months. All right, so we want to know how much he's putting in every month. We do that operation. It's a division problem right there. So 255 divided by 3 is 85. So he's putting in $85 for every 1 month. All right, that is my rate of change. So what I have here is this pattern is my rate of change. All of this work is my rate of change. I just determined it, but if I go back up to my learning targets, I've not interpreted it until I have a sentence. So interpretation would say, he saves $85 a month. That's what we're saying in math right there. That's what that is standing for. That's what all this is standing for. Now that we know his rate of change that he's saving every month, we can use that rate of change to work our way to 0 months. So if I'm at month 1 and I know that I had 160, then I know if I go back a month to look at what I was the month before, then I need to go back $85 because I put $85 in here. I need to take that away to figure out how much I originally had. What we're doing to find that is 160, and I'm subtracting the 85. Okay, so I'm taking that number 160 right there. I'm subtracting my rate, 85 for every one. Oops, I have a mistake there. 85, and I get 75. So I just determined my initial value. I started with $75 in the account before I started to make my plan to save. So I might write here that the initial value is 0.75, and that you're going to say he had $75 before he started saving. All right. So there it is. And the last piece is now writing that equation. Same idea here. I'm going to use that same rule, y equals rate of change times x plus your y-intercept. Now don't get confused if the y-intercept was first. I could also write this same rule as y equals the y-intercept first plus rate of change times x. The only thing is x has to follow your rate of change, right? It doesn't really matter what order you put them in, but x has to be multiplied to the rate of change. So y equals, what's my initial value? 75. Y equals 75 plus my rate of change is 85. 85 times x, and there you have it.